You don't lose power because you're weak. You lose it because someone else wrote the rules of the room before you walked in. The agenda was set, the goalposts placed, the definitions smuggled in under friendly smiles, and by the time you start talking, you're already playing on their board. Power doesn't begin with muscle or volume. It begins with the first story that sounds coherent. Tonight, you take that back. 7 power moves. Field-tested, quiet, ethical, and lethal in the best sense. They cut through noise. Use them to defend your attention, your time, and your boundaries, not to harm. Use them to build the kind of life in which your yes means something and your no actually holds. If you stay to the end, you'll have a set of moves you can deploy in the next 24 hours. And once you see them, you won't unsee them. You'll start to notice how every room is framed, how every silence tilts the ground, how every option is engineered to make one path feel natural. You'll stop being dragged by momentum and start choosing the direction of your days. The first move is frame control. Most people think power is won in the debate. It isn't. Power is won before the debate begins, when someone quietly defines what the debate is about, what counts as proof, and what success looks like. Whoever names the game decides how it's scored. The human brain, desperate to conserve energy, loves a clear frame. Offer it a simple narrative, and it will spend far less energy questioning assumptions. That's why the person who says, "Here's the outcome we're here to achieve, and here are the 3 checkpoints that prove we did it," doesn't have to shout. They don't need to dominate airtime. They simply establish the arena where every later sentence is judged. Watch what happens when you open a meeting with, "Just so we're aligned, a win for all of us today looks like A, B, and C. If we hit those, we're done." The room exhales. Confusion drops. You just lowered everyone's cognitive load and took the invisible helm. And because you planted the criteria early, scope creep has to climb a wall to reach you. The insecure will try to move the goalposts mid-game. You can smile and point at the frame. Happy to add that. Let's put it in the parking list for phase 2. You're not resisting. You're referencing the foundation everyone agreed to. The best part, you don't need to be the boss to do this. You only need to be the first to define what done means. You'll be tempted to decorate your frame with jargon to prove how smart you are. Don't. Power hides in clarity. The simpler the definition, the stronger the gravity. And the line you never cross is distortion. You don't define a frame to trick people. You define it to align reality. Power that relies on fog dies in sunlight. Power that relies on clarity grows when examined. If the frame sets the board, time sets the pressure. The second move is asymmetric patience. You wait longer than they can afford to, and you structure your life so you can. Impatience is expensive. It makes people leak concessions, reveal information, and accept options that aren't built for them. The trick is not just be patient. Anyone can preach that. The trick is to rewire your environment so waiting costs you almost nothing and costs them more. Handle your urgent needs before you negotiate. Build a runway of alternatives so a no today doesn't hurt you tomorrow. Then when the other side pushes fake urgency, "We need an answer by end of day," you can calmly reply, "No rush on my side. I'm comfortable picking this up next month when we're properly staffed." Watch how the leverage shifts. Deadlines were designed by someone. They can be redesigned by you. This isn't passive or cruel, it's controlled, because unchecked urgency is how power siphons out of your life. It's also how people trap you with artificial fires, limited time offers, exploding deals, last-minute crises that somehow always land in your lap. Asymmetric patience cuts the fuel line. You choose when you move. The warning here is simple. Never weaponize delay where safety or someone else's real livelihood is at stake. Use patience to outlast manipulation, not mercy. Silence is next. Not the kind you sit in because you're afraid to speak, but the kind you create after asking a clean question. Weaponized silence is the moment after you say, "What's the real blocker?" and then you stop. Your instinct will scream to fill the void, to appear helpful, to soften the question. Don't. Humans hate emptiness in conversation. They rush to fill the space with the thing they didn't plan to say, the number they were hiding, the insecurity they rehearsed around, the timeline they hoped you'd never ask about. If you can tolerate 3 seconds of stillness, you'll see the truth arrive shyly and then stumble out loudly. Silence is not aggression. It is respect for reality. It gives the moment room to reveal itself. Use it with a steady face and a relaxed posture. Nod once, breathe slowly, say nothing. If you talk to rescue them from discomfort, you rescue yourself from clarity. But be careful. Silence aimed downward to humiliate a subordinate over personal matters is not power, it's cruelty. The strength of silence is that it exposes facts without force. It's clean, it's surgical, and once you trust it, you'll use fewer words and get better answers. By now, you've defined the game, stretched the clock, and stopped bleeding information. The fourth move looks gentle until it isn't. Pre-commitment traps. You and the other party agree to the rules while everyone is calm, before money, pride, and pressure flood the room. Later, when emotions rise, the rules you both blessed early protect the relationship and the outcome. People love to appear consistent with past commitments. It's a deep bias. Once we say who we are, we fight to stay that person. Use it for clarity, not deception. Draft a simple operating agreement at the start. If scope changes beyond 15%, we either split the work into a phase 2 or reprice the original. No one's mad when they sign it. No one feels tricked. But 3 weeks later, when just a small addition balloons into a 5th feature, you don't argue. You point to the line you wrote when everyone was rational. This move works in personal life as well. While you and your partner are calm, agree on how you handle conflict. No midnight arguments, no phone sniping, no ultimatums. Write it down. When tempers rise, you both have a map out of the fog. That's power, not the ability to overpower someone in the heat, but the discipline to bind yourself to a principle when things were cool. Cross the ethical line by hiding terms in fine print, and you'll poison your own future. You win a battle and lose the trust that builds empires. Keep it visible, mutual, and simple. Move 5 is status scarcity positioning. Make access the product. When your time is always available, it stops being valuable, to others and to you. Scarcity, when honest, doesn't manipulate. It signals standards. It says, I don't give my focus lightly. That alone changes how people show up. You don't need to cosplay importance. You don't need velvet ropes and carefully staged, busy photos. You need structure, office hours, 2 windows per week when calls happen, not 12 windows per day. Start dates that occur twice a month, not any time someone snaps their fingers. Email responses that batch to certain hours, not dopamine Twitch replies in under 6 minutes. You'll notice something. The quality of inbound improves. People prepare, requests get sharper, meetings shrink because they have to, and your yes becomes real again. The fragile will accuse you of arrogance. Let them. You're not withholding love. You're respecting bandwidth. Don't fake scarcity. If you have room, say so, price accordingly, and tell them when it ends. False scarcity feels like a costume and breaks at the seams. Real scarcity grows from self-respect. Your attention is a finite resource made meaningful by how you allocate it. The 6th move is the one that will save more of your life than you expect. Strategic ignorance. Not the ignorance of apathy or negligence, but the willful refusal to engage with low-leverage battles. Every day, bait is laid for you. Performative arguments, digital side quests, status games in office corridors. If you bite, you bleed time, reputation, and focus. Strategic ignorance is scoring your own season and refusing to play in leagues that don't count toward anything. You decide the scoreboard, 3 metrics that matter this quarter, and you starve everything else. A stranger insults you online? Irrelevant to the scoreboard. A colleague tosses a passive-aggressive email? You reply once with clean facts, then route every future dust-up back to outcomes. You will be told you're avoiding conflict. No, you're avoiding theater. Real conflict you handle head-on and in the right channel. Everything else dies in the absence of attention. The first week you practice this, you'll twitch. Your mind will crave the dopamine of defending yourself in public. That buzz is how you've been trained to waste your days. Let it pass. By week 2, you'll feel lighter. By week 4, people will start mirroring your discipline because you're the only one around who seems to have time to do the actual work. Before the final move, notice a pattern. You're not controlling people. You're controlling conditions. The board, the clock, the air, the rules, the gate, the signal. Power in modern life is environmental, not theatrical. Which brings you to move 7, option limit engineering. You don't force the decision, you design the menu. You don't trap anyone, you make the path you prefer the most reasonable, least exhausting route. People say they want infinite choice. They don't. Infinite choice paralyzes. Most of us pick defaults and middle options we won't regret. If you present 3 clear choices, lean, balanced, premium, with a default next step pre-scheduled for the balanced option, you will see a pattern. The majority pick balanced, not because you tricked them, but because you did the work to make the next action frictionless. That's not manipulation, that's service. The ethical line is bright. No dark patterns, no hidden costs, no fake buttons that hide cancel. You win because you removed friction and made your preferred path honest, attractive, and simple. In a world of noisy coercion, clean architecture feels like relief. Now let's string these moves into a life that doesn't wobble when the ground shakes. You wake up and check the frame of your day before you check your phone. What makes today a win? 3 items, not 13. You stack them at the front of the schedule and let the rest orbit around them. You answer inbound through office hours, not impulses. You draft a 1-page operating agreement for the project sprint before anyone argues about tools. You ask one clean question in the kickoff and then let silence do the excavation. You push any unscoped additions into a phase 2 and point at the rule you both wrote while calm. You keep only 2 start dates open next month and stick to them. When bait arrives, you let it die without your oxygen. And for the decisions other people need to make with you, you present 3 options, no more, no less, with a clear default and a clean off-ramp. You didn't dominate anyone, you designed your arena. You'll be accused of being controlling. Good. You should control something. Your attention, your time, your promises. You should be a steward of these things like a guard over a quiet gate. Because the opposite is not kindness, it's chaos. The opposite is living by everyone else's emergency, changing goals mid-game and filling silence with confessions that cost you 6 months. There's a reason these moves are rarely used. They demand the strength most people avoid. The strength to be boringly consistent. It's easy to flex on social media, to perform decisiveness for strangers, to talk about boundaries and burn out in the same sentence. It's harder to define the room in the first 60 seconds without a tremble in your voice. It's harder to wait 3 more days when every part of you wants to chase the first offer. It's harder to sit in silence after asking, what do you actually need? It's harder to write principles before there's a fight, to limit access when you crave validation, to ignore insults when vanity is starving, to design a menu and accept that some people will choose a different restaurant. But that's why the people who do this quietly end up owning the rooms everyone else is trying to impress. They don't need to be the loudest, they just need to be the clearest. Maybe you're thinking, I don't have authority, I'm junior. This won't work where I am. That's the lie that keeps power concentrated in the same tired hands. Authority is granted, power is grown. You can define a microframe in your next one-on-one. I want to leave with 3 priorities for this week. Does that feel right? You can choose to wait longer than your peers by doing the prep no one else will. You can ask one clean question and let the silence pull truth you would never have heard. You can write a simple ways we work doc and invite feedback rather than complain about chaos. You can block 2 windows on your calendar and reclaim your mornings. You can ignore the Slack squabble. You can send a 3-option update instead of a wall of text. You don't need permission to be precise. If anything, precision is how you earn permission. You will make mistakes. The first time you try to set a frame, you'll oversell it and sound preachy. The second time you wait, you'll wait too long and miss an opportunity. The first silence you hold will feel like 100 seconds, and you'll crack at 3. The first operating agreement will be too complex. The first scarcity rule too rigid. The first ignored bait will come back sharper. The first menu will be clumsy. Good. That discomfort is the price of power that lasts. Adjust. Refine the sentence that defines the room so it fits in one breath. Build buffers so waiting doesn't cost you deals you actually want. Practice silence in low-stakes conversations until your nervous system learns it won't die. Cut your ways we work doc to half a page. Replace I'm unavailable forever with I have 2 start dates and here they are. Remind yourself that insults only grow in the soil you water. Rework the menu so every option is honest, cancelable, and clear. You're not crafting a persona, you're building a system. Notice what these moves do to your identity. You'll start to trust yourself. Not because you never fail, but because your days will run on promises you actually keep. That trust is magnetic. People sense it without knowing why. They lean in when you speak because your words are not auditions. They're instructions to yourself that you followed when no one was watching. That's the deepest form of power, so quiet you don't have to announce it. A room will offer you the role of performer. You will choose architect. A moment will beg you to react. You will choose to wait. A voice will dare you to fill the air. You will choose silence. A conflict will seduce you into a fight. You will point to the principles you both blessed. A crowd will pressure you to be everywhere. You will open your gate on 2 afternoons. A rumor will flash in your feed. You will starve it. An undecided partner will ask you what to do. You will show them 3 paths and let them feel the dignity of choosing. There's a darker temptation to be careful with, using these moves to make other people smaller. You can do that. You can frame to restrict, wait to punish, go silent to intimidate, pre-commit to corner, ration access to humiliate, ignore to dehumanize, and design options that make no choice real. You'll win quickly, and you will lose slowly. You'll become the thing you thought power required, untouchable, untrustworthy, unloved. Real power is not the ability to make people obey, it's the ability to make decisions that stand when obedience ends. If you build with clean lines, those lines will hold when the wind changes. Use these moves to protect reality, not distort it. To create conditions where good work is possible, not cages where people suffocate. Imagine tomorrow. You step into a room that used to overwhelm you. You don't scan for faces or approval. You define what a win looks like. You commit the group to it with 3 checkpoints. You ask the question no one wanted to ask, and you let the quiet do the heavy lifting. When the conversation tries to mutate into 8 side quests, you tap the agreement you wrote before the storm. You offer a phase 2 and keep phase 1 clean. When someone tries to drag you into a thread designed to harvest your attention, you let the thread scroll past like weather. When a real decision arrives, you place 3 cards on the table and say, all work. This one moves fastest. This one costs least. This one buys the most safety. Which path do we want? The meeting ends early. People are lighter. No one knows why, but you do. You didn't dominate, you designed, you didn't impress, you aligned. You didn't win against them, you won with them against chaos. If this is the first time you've considered power as architecture, let it rewire you gently. Start with one move. For the next week, set the frame in every conversation you lead, not with a speech, one sentence. A win here is X, Y, Z. Watch the drift disappear. Week 2, practice patience once per day. Don't reply instantly. Don't decide under a clock you didn't build. Breathe, create an alternative, buy yourself an hour, then a day. Week 3, learn the weight of silence. Ask a clean question and count to 3 in your head while you breathe through the urge to rescue everyone from the void. Week 4, draft the half-page principles for your next project. Week 5, 2 office hour windows. Week 6, decide what you'll ignore. Week 7, redesign a decision as a 3-option menu with a default you'd gladly live with. That's not a content challenge. That's a life shift. You'll feel the floor under you get thicker. And if you want a litmus test to know this is working, measure how many times per week you say, "I don't do that anymore." That sentence is a boundary wrapped in clarity. I don't debate scope during delivery. I don't accept meetings without outcomes. I don't reply outside my windows unless it's an emergency. I don't argue on platforms built to reward conflict. I don't present plans with one brittle path. If you can't yet say those sentences, borrow mine until you can hear your own voice in them. If your environment punishes you for this discipline, you'll learn something vital about where you are. Some rooms hate clarity because clarity kills the games that keep certain people large. Those aren't rooms you grow in. If you can't leave yet, start by practicing these moves in spaces you own. Your calendar, your inbox, your side projects, your closest relationships. Power compounds. The small arena you master today becomes the leverage you use to choose a larger one tomorrow. There's one more truth before you go. These moves won't make you invincible. They will make you honest. You will still lose deals you wanted. You will still misread a moment and speak when you should have waited or wait when you should have pounced. You will still care what people think sometimes and feel the old itch to be everywhere, liked by everyone. That's human. The point of power is not to stop caring. It's to stop bargaining your life away to care cheaply. You'll choose where your caring lives. In the frame you set, in the patience you invest, in the silence you trust, in the principles you pre-commit to, in the scarcity that protects your best work, in the battles you ignore, and in the options you design for people you respect. That choice, made daily, turns a scattered existence into a sovereign one. If this message hit anything that's been pulling you apart, do something tiny and public. Type one sentence where you are. I set the frame, not for me, for you. It's your reminder that you are allowed to define the rules of the rooms you build. And if you're done playing on someone else's board, come back for the next move. Because once you start seeing the architecture of power, you'll notice the tells, the leverage, the patterns under persuasion. You'll stop performing strength and start practicing it. Not loud, not cruel, just precise. 7 moves used quietly can rearrange a life. Use them well.